you're someone that relies on your aim too much, it means that you don't really understand core elements of the game, and it probably causes a lot of inconsistency issues in your own stats. So something that you guys need to do if you do rely on aim a lot is start to try to incorporate playing with teammates. So if I wanted to take long as a CT on Dust 2, instead of me just dry swinging this hoping that I out aim someone because I play Kovacs 12 hours a day, the best thing that I could do is wait on this corner, ask for my teammates to flash, and then have the opportunity to kill as many people that get blinded by the flash as possible, which also maximizes my chance of getting more kills. It's the same thing like over here towards Cat, where I see a lot of players just like to contact up Cat, relying on their aim, trying to jiggle out oppers, and just dry swinging the whole catwalk, which is totally bad when you could just have a teammate sitting down here with a flash to throw like this, and that opens up more duels for you, because if there is an opper here, chances are he's going to get blind and you'll get a free kill, or at worst they have a Cat setup where there's an opper sitting right here, maybe someone's playing anti, you can swing this full confidently with a flash, be able to kill this guy, and then maybe even frag on the opper. So if you notice that you're very inconsistent in your stats, try to incorporate by talking to your teammate a little bit more to get supportive utility so you can have more confidence in your fragging, because you know that you have the support coming with it. Now if you guys are using player models inside of your loadout for T or CT, this is actually bad, and the reason is because the enemy team knows exactly who you are and where you play. Like a good example of this is if I am a long player on CT, and let's say there's been a couple rounds where the T's have seen me with my certain player skin, and then all of a sudden one round I decide I want to push lower, and maybe I get a kill, or maybe even I die. This gives the other team information that I'm not playing long and I am the usual long player, so that would prompt them to actually take this space for free. Now we could even go more in depth to this by talking about skins, and maybe someone knows who you are because of your gloves, but most casual players don't really look at that, and player skins are more easily to spot. So if you ever feel like the enemy just knows exactly where you are all the time, it's probably because of the player skin that you're using, so I really recommend that you turn this off. Now rotating too early is good and also bad, but when you do this, we want to make sure that you're doing it right. So if I am the B anchor and I decide to block B at the start of the round by throwing my molly, maybe there's no sort of pressure, and then I want to throw my smoke, I don't want to immediately leave, because a lot of good players understand early round rotations. Sometimes good players will take the gap, or right as the molly is ending, they might even run through the last tick to try to beat you with your smoke out, or as soon as the smoke drops, someone might decide to try to walk through it. So rotating too early does have its consequences. Another example is over here towards the A site, where if I know they're on Cat and I just immediately throw a smoke and then run towards mid, chances are they're going to decide to run up Cat because they hear me running away rotating, thinking that they're going to drop down mid to B. So when you want to block an area of the map, or maybe you think you want to rotate, you want to make sure that there's enough information that has been set across the map, or maybe there's a majority of the players on the other side and you're just blocking your side, or maybe you know that they are Cat and you decide to block them. The one thing that you want to do is just give yourself some reassurance by just holding the smoke and making sure no one's walking through, and then that's when you can just rotate and try to cheat over to the other bomb site. Now before I get into the next tip, let me tell you about SkinsMonkey. Is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade, and if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Now rushing with no plan is probably the worst thing that you can do, especially if you aren't ranking up, and the reason is because not a lot of people understand the protocols on how to rush. So if we wanted to rush B on Dust 2, these are the simple protocols that you can tell your teammates what to do. So the guy who has the best spawn needs one flash, and the reason he needs a flash is so he can just bank it off this wall and run in with the flash. Now the second guy is what we call the firefighter, where he's going to be the one putting out the molly, because we want the entry fragger to have his gun out as soon as he turns this corner. So once he banks this flash off the wall, he's literally just gun out trying to get the first kill. Now the second guy is just trying to listen for the molly, and one thing that a lot of people will do is just preemptively throw the smoke even if there's no molly drop, because a lot of people might be coming late into B, where maybe they're running towards the back site and mollying kind of late. So it's very important that you do get this smoke down, just because if you don't throw this smoke and you run past and the molly does hit, then all of a sudden your teammates are blocked behind a molly with no way to get out of tons. Now the third person is going to have their gun out, and the fourth and fifth people are mainly your supports, where they're flashing, you know, over here towards Humvee, or flashing over through the roof as well, and then this guy's lurking over here towards lower. And that is the simple protocols on how to rush a bomb site. This works on all the other maps as well, and it doesn't take that much utility to do, because this entry guy could just have one flash, you have another smoke, and then the fourth or fifth guy just has that last flash coming in like this, and two flashes can easily take a bomb site like B site on Dust 2. Now something that a lot of players fail with is overextending, and what I mean by that is if you hear hear information, like let's say I'm a CT on cat and I hear players running up cat, a lot of people will love to overextend trying to get a kill, and then they run into 2 to 3 people and they're not able to stay alive. So something that you guys want to do is try to take 1v1 duels. Now this area, it is a lot harder. You might need a flash, or maybe you're just going to try to hold a wide crosser for players. But if you're over here towards ramp on the A site, instead of just swinging out and exposing yourself to everyone, you want to make sure that you're not overextending and just trying to take those one-on-ones. And in order to do that, it's just angling off and just constantly jiggle peeking, because a lot of players, especially if they're scaling cat, will try to get over towards Gandalf while someone's, scaling close to this box. So if you're able to just quickly catch these players off and just swivel trying to take these 1v1s, you're going to have a lot easier time playing on this ramp. You're also going to stay alive longer, which can opt in for your teammates to start throwing flashes like in this window, or maybe they're coming up trying to fight on this headshot angle with you, and then you can peek left with them and just double fight all these guys, and that will give you a higher chance at winning the round. You can even do it over towards the B side as well, where if I'm playing behind this box and they decide to pop B, I don't want to immediately swing and just fight tunnels. I want to find the players trying to take space, so I'm just jiggling out these angles trying to take my 1v1s. I could kill a player here, and then I get 2 free kills, and then I can just stay alive. My teammates are flashing over, and then I can get the final 3rd kill just like that. It's so easy to stay alive as long as you're playing around objects. You just want to make sure that you're not swinging out into the open and exposing yourself to multiple players. Now, playing solo is probably one of the worst things you could do, and it's why you're hard stuck, because most of the top players in CS right now on Faceit with high elo, they usually 3Q with 2 other friends. So if you're constantly just playing by yourself, it's going to hurt you a lot more, because you're just having a coin flip on who is the better team. So when you're playing in these games, you want to make sure that you're looking for good players, adding them on Steam and seeing if they want to play, and this will help you increase your chance at ranking up inside of CS2. Now, if you don't really want to play with people, maybe you just love to solo queue, it's really important that you do use your mic a lot and just communicate on what you want in the round. So if you're over here on T side on Dust 2 and you're just running around mindlessly just having a coin flip hoping your team's better, you're not going to win. You want to make sure that you're telling your teammates like, hey, we have long spawns, let's go long, or we have B spawns, let's go rush B. This is very important in your solo queue journey, just to be able to use your mic. Now, one of the most simple concepts inside of CS that a lot of people fail at is just simply grouping with your team. Now, yes, it's very normal at the start of the round to just default, where on Dust 2 you would smoke mid door, maybe you fake some long flashes and be kind of spread out. But once it gets later into the round, a lot of people just like to go and take 1v1 duels, where the player in long might try to walk out long and die, someone tries to walk out mid, they die, someone tries to solo walk cat, they die, and the round just crumbles. So it's important to group with your teammates, and there's a simple trick on how to do this, even if it's the wrong answer in the round. So when you are in the round and maybe you're in a good spot to settle, you guys got some map control, you want to look at your radar and see where majority of the players are. If majority of the players are towards B, you simply just say, hey guys, I'm just going to throw mid to B, I'm going to fake that, you guys go B. If majority of the players are over towards A, you can just say, hey guys, I'm going to fake mid to B. Or if you're in upper tons, you might just say, I'm going to pressure B, can you guys get ready to go A? And it's as simple as that, because if you give a simple direction on where your teammates should go, they will most likely listen. Even if they're just going to dry walk up cat, at least they'll have more players with them for them to get the trades. So if you can just simply look at your mini map, see where majority of your teammates are, give them a little bit direction, you're more likely to win rounds, especially on T side. Now, if you struggle a lot in post plants or on CT, it's because you're playing really bad angles. Like an example that I see a lot is someone playing here on CT side of Dust 2, and this is a really bad angle. And the reason it's bad is because after they take this duel, or maybe they encounter this duel and maybe they start to whiff just a little bit, there's nowhere for them to go. Where if you were sitting here top site, let's say I had some teammates on cap, I could just shoot a couple shots and then just stay alive if I decided I didn't want that duel, knowing that it may just be one player. It's the same thing over towards the B site or even towards mid, where a lot of people love to just try to hold these doors, and it's a super bad angle to do, because you can get peeked by someone lurking behind Xbox, someone swinging mid, someone peeking palm tree, or coming back from cat, and you're just exposed to so many angles. You want to make sure that if you are exposed to a lot of angles, you want to make sure that you're not exposed playing like an off angle. Like playing on these bricks is really good for anyone walking out mid, because they're just going to be walking out looking towards spawn, and chances are you're going to catch them off guard right here or towards the B side as well. You want to make sure that you're not playing in the open. You want to be playing around objects where you can, get a kill, stay alive, and just swivel around. If you find yourself just getting killed in the open a lot, try to just anchor yourself around objects so you can swivel around them, and you'll find a lot more success. Now, something that casual players don't do is count utility, and this is really important, because if you're able to count utility, you're able to understand what's happening in the round. Like a good example of this is if T's are smoking mid door and then they decide to smoke long corner, corner, you know that the T's now have 3 more smokes. Let's say they decide to smoke cross again. Now we know that they have 2. This gives us a good idea on how the round might play, because if I have a long player and they use their 3rd smoke on this cross and they're like, yo, no one's out long, we know that we're ready for something towards mid to B, where they might be smoking mid to B and we can simply just get ready to nade the smoke. Or we think they might throw this lurk smoke up towards cat, which prompts us to start to play for cat. Since we know they're not long, we can start to cheat up a little bit. Maybe we will want to block the smoke, and puts us in really good position to win the round. And it's also the same thing on T side as well. If we can count the utility of what the CTs are throwing, it can give us a lot of information. Like if my B tons lurk encounters a 2nd smoke towards B, we obviously know that there's 2 playing towards B, and that gives us a huge idea on what's happening on the map. And it tells us that there's a chance that there's a gap towards mid, or if the CTs decide to re-smoke long doors twice, we know they're playing for long and that the gap is over here towards cat. So if you're able to identify how many smokes players are using or how many smokes land in a certain spot, it'll give you a huge advantage because you understand where people are playing and what they can do in the round. Now, Counter-Strike is similar to a sport because you need to warm up. And the reason you need to warm up is because there's some muscle memory involved, where if you're not warming up your flicks and being comfortable with your mouse when you get on your computer, or even just trying to remember how to spray the AK, can really cost you if you are having a consistency issue. Because it's the same thing as a sport where you need to warm up your muscles, and it's gone so far in Counter-Strike where players are even starting to massage their forearms and do wrist exercises before they play, just to be able to warm up even more in depth. So if you're constantly just hopping on the game and wondering why you're having these terrible games or you can't shoot, it's probably because you're not warming up. It's very important that you guys warm up your flicks, warm up your movement, and warm up your sprays, just so you can remind your brain on how to play Counter-Strike. Now, some players even go in depth where after they warm up, they even try to practice utility, remind themselves how grenade trajectories work by just throwing some flashes, and just pretty much grenade deathmatching is what they call it. So if you notice that you are having these weird consistency issues or you aren't really improving in your games, really try to warm up or just simply just play some retake servers before you play, and that is enough to elevate your performance. Now, not having a training routine is something else that goes along with warm up, where if you aren't really pushing yourself to be better, you will never become better. So if you notice in your games that you're struggling on something, like let's say you're not really good at tapping at long range, it's important that you really practice this fundamentally. And the way to practice long range duels is simply just crosshair placement and movement. You want to practice the different types of peeks you can take at long range. You want to practice instantly counter strafing at angles that you are pre-aiming, and this will give you a good training for these long range duels. Now, if you don't know what to practice, or maybe you feel like you don't have the time, just try to remember in your games what you're struggling with. Or maybe you're really bad at fighting these headshot angles, which means that your tracking is just bad, so you need to go find some workshop tracking maps, which I talked about in one of my last videos. Or maybe your spraying is really bad, where if you see someone running up cat, you always tend to just whiff on this person that's trying to chase you down running up cat, which means you need to work on your recoil. Now, map knowledge is very important because it shows you on how you should be playing the map. Like on Dust 2, the easiest way to play the map is simply just learning one smoke, and that is smoking off mid doors. This one smoke gives you the opportunity to take 3/4 of the map, where you can take mid, you can take lower, and then maybe even have a chance at walking out long late, because some newbies might rotate off of this smoke. If you simply understand on how to play the map, you're going to see an increase in your rank. And the reason is because you're going to also see the gaps. Or if you know that the CTs are fighting off cat, you know that long is free. Or if you hear 6 flashes towards long, you know that there's going to be 3 players towards long, which tells you that the gap is over here towards cat. So understanding the map and learning the maps is very important, and it's going to help you excel and lead your teammates, especially if you're solo queue, because a lot of people, when you solo queue, they don't really use their mics. They kind of just run around waiting for someone else to lead. So if you have the knowledge on how the map is supposed to be played and just learn a few lineups like the mid door smoke, or maybe you try to learn the long corner smoke so you guys can take long, this will help you guys in your games more than you think it will. Now, if you really want to win, you need to become a specialist. And what I mean by a specialist is a specialist in your role. So whatever map you play, maybe you have a favorite map like Dust 2, you want to find a position, especially on CT, and learn this role to a T. Like for example, my role is a rotator, so I understand that I need to flash. Some rounds I can hold a flash for my team if they pop late, and then I rotate over towards mid or go and fight cat. And I understand all of this and know the little fun grenades to throw, where if I want to flash, if I already have a teammate up here, I know how to boost for lower for my opper. I know all those little gimmicks that will help me dominate this position. Same thing goes for T side. I am the lower defaulter, so I understand if I think someone's lower, I can just bank a molly off this wall. I can bank a flash. If I want to go fast, I can just come out lower, throw a flash off this wall, not even have to worry about being blinded because I know how everything works. If I think someone's on cat, I can throw a flash looks like this. I know all the little gimmicks because I'm a specialist in my role. Now, I talked about map knowledge, and the one thing about that is that you guys need to learn the simple grenades. So if you know how to play the map, that's great, but if you don't know the grenades, that is really bad. I've encountered so many games over on Dust 2 and Faceit level 10 where people don't even know the simple cross smoke to throw. People try to just bank it off the wall and it misses and it totally just throws the round. So understanding basic grenades is very important, and you don't really have to learn that many. I would say if you learn 5 per map is really good. Like on Mirage, if you know the window, top mid, and right side A smokes, that is pretty golden. On Dust 2, if you know the mid door smoke, the cross smoke, and maybe even like a lurk smoke over towards B, and especially the mid to B smoke as well, these are very important to learn because this is going to cause some pressure and some push and pull in the other team. And it's also going to help your teammates on winning the round, where I talked about earlier, where if you notice where people are grouped, if you understand basic lineups and how to help your teammates, it's very important. Because if you're grouped over here towards cat and your team's just like, yeah, okay, let's go up cat, but there's no grenades being thrown, it's important that you know these lurk smokes, like the lurk smoke for cat, these high left scale flashes, these are all very important. So if you notice that you are just pretty much relying on your aim and not knowing any utility at all, I really recommend that you go use it, because a little secret as well, if you know utility, that means that you have to throw it and you can bait your teammates for more frags. Now this one is very important because it's understanding patterns and it's reading the game. If you're not reading the game, you're not playing Counter-Strike at all. It's very important to understand what is happening on the map, where if you know the T's aren't taking long, you don't have to keep playing 3 people long and constantly flashing. You just have some solo guy take it, where maybe your teammates just want to come over here, smoke long door, they'll throw 1 flash for you, and then they go and fight cat because they understand the pattern that since they're not taking long, we can just pretty much cut the map in half and just fight over here towards mid. This is really important to understand, and you have to be adaptable in these situations. So if you notice that things like this are happening, make sure that you are speaking up and leading your team in the right direction, and you'll notice your win rate increase dramatically.